April 14, 1906. A camera mounted on the front of a cable car travels down Market Street in San Francisco. The Miles brothers are filming what they think is just another city scene. People wave at the camera. Automobiles and horse carriages dodge each other recklessly. Pedestrians jaywalk with abandon. It's an ordinary spring morning in America's most dynamic city. But this film would become extraordinary. 4 days later, at 5:12 a.m. on April 18th, the ground would shake. And the city in this film would cease to exist. Today, using artificial intelligence to restore and enhance this legendary footage, along with hundreds of period photographs, we resurrect San Francisco at the moment of its greatest glory and greatest catastrophe. This is the story of the city that died and rose again. In 1906, San Francisco was the jewel of the American West. Built on gold rush wealth and silver from Nevada's Comstock lode, it was a city of extraordinary contrasts. Nob Hill, where railroad barons built mansions that rivaled European palaces. Chinatown, the largest Chinese community outside Asia. Market Street, the grand boulevard where the old world of horse carriages met the new world of automobiles. The city called itself the Paris of the West, and with good reason. 400,000 people lived here, making it the 9th largest city in America. It was cultured, cosmopolitan, and confident, and utterly unprepared for what was coming. Atop Nob Hill, named for the nabobs or nouveau riche who built there, stood the most ostentatious display of wealth in America. The Big Four railroad barons, Leland Stanford, Charles Crocker, Mark Hopkins, and Collis Huntington, had built mansions that made East Coast society jealous. The Fairmont Hotel, still under construction, would be the grandest on the West Coast. James Flood's brownstone mansion cost $6 million in 1886 dollars. These palaces looked eternal. They would last exactly 20 more years. Down the hill from Nob Hill's palaces lay Chinatown, 15 square blocks that housed 25,000 Chinese immigrants. This was the largest Chinese community outside Asia. 12 blocks of exotic architecture, import shops, temples, and tenements. Arnold Genthe, a German photographer, documented this world obsessively. His photographs would become priceless because the Chinatown he photographed would be completely erased. Every building, every temple, every shop. In 1906, some in the city's establishment would see the disaster as an opportunity to relocate Chinatown. They failed. The Chinese community rebuilt on the exact same spot, creating the Chinatown we know today. Wednesday, April 18, 1906. 5:12 a.m. Most of San Francisco is still asleep. Then the earth moves. The San Andreas Fault ruptures for 296 miles. The shaking lasts between 45 and 60 seconds. Those survivors will swear it was minutes. Buildings constructed on landfill, like City Hall, collapse instantly. The mansions on Nob Hill crack and sway. Chimneys topple. Gas lines rupture. And then, the fires begin. With water mains broken, firefighters are helpless. The fire chief is killed in the first hours when a chimney collapses on him. For 3 days, the fire burns. Desperate attempts to create fire breaks by dynamiting buildings only spread the flames. By the time it's over, 80% of the city is gone. 3,000 people are dead. 225,000 are homeless. The city that we saw in that 1906 film exists only in memory. The ruins were still smoking when the rebuilding began. San Francisco refused to die. The city that knows how became the slogan. Within days, temporary buildings appeared. Within months, major construction started. The city embraced the City Beautiful movement, replacing Victorian chaos with Beaux-Arts order. A new civic center would rise. The Fairmont Hotel reopened in 1907. And in 1915, just 9 years after the catastrophe, San Francisco would host the Panama-Pacific International Exposition, proof to the world that the Phoenix had risen from the ashes. The exposition's Tower of Jewels, covered in colored glass and lit by searchlights, would become the symbol of resurrection. The city that died in 1906 was reborn more beautiful than before. February 20th, 1915, 9 years after the earthquake, San Francisco opens the Panama-Pacific International Exposition. Officially, it celebrates the opening of the Panama Canal, but everyone knows its real purpose: to show the world that San Francisco has not just survived, but triumphed. Built on 635 acres of filled land in the Marina District, the exposition is a fantasy of Beaux-Arts architecture. The Tower of Jewels rises 435 feet, covered in over 100,000 colored glass Nova gems that shimmer in the sun and glow under searchlights at night. 18 million visitors will come. They will see a city reborn, more beautiful than the one that burned. The exposition closed on October 4, 1915. The temporary palaces were demolished. The Tower of Jewels came down, its glass gems sold as souvenirs. But the point had been made. San Francisco had risen from the ashes in just 9 years. The city that burned in 1906 was gone forever. The Victorian eccentricity, the ornate mansions, the old Chinatown. But something arguably more beautiful had taken its place. A modern city. A city that had learned from disaster. A city of steel and concrete and confidence. Today, when we watch that 1906 film of Market Street, we're watching ghosts. Almost everyone in that film died before color movies were invented. The city they lived in was destroyed 4 days after the camera rolled. But they live on in these images. And through the miracle of technology, we can resurrect their world, if only for a moment. This was San Francisco, the city that died and refused to stay dead.